V1. Rotate.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Flight Sim 008 video. Today is something a bit different because I woke up this morning with an urge to operate the heavies. Now, we don't have the rank yet for anything bigger than an A320 or 737 with Fly UK, but luckily, I'm also a member of our Codeshare partners over at Metro Virtual, and I do have the rank with them. That brings us to the Middle East, specifically Dubai, as we'll be operating this flight 109, service to Hamad International in the city of Doha, just across the Gulf. So as the ramp staff load the many cans of cargo and baggage into our Boeing 777-300ER, let's head to the briefing room and check the charts and the weather for our short hop to Qatar. So the weather in Dubai is as close to perfect as we can get. Winds are out of the west at 7 knots, temperature's 21, dew point is 13, good visibility, a few clouds at 4,000, and the QNH is 1014. Pretty good weather out of Dubai here today. For the route today, Metro does it a little bit differently. They don't actually supply a company route because I guess it's a little bit too dynamic, and it's kind of tough to keep up with all of the route changes and the ARAC changes every cycle. So what they do is they provide the last couple of times this flight was flown, what the route was, a couple of suggestions. So I'm going to showcase something a little bit different this time. And it's a program called VRoute. Now, I've had VRoute for a long time, since before PFPX existed, as far as I can tell. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. Very advanced planning features. I find the route selection and the route, what do I want to say? It's more crowdsourced, but the checker is a lot more stringent, in my opinion. So I think the routes are a little bit more, not valid, but yeah, okay, let's go with valid. I mean, there's nothing wrong with other programs like PFPX and that kind of thing, and, they're all fantastically handy programs to have. This is just what I know and love. This is one of the first programs I used for flight planning. So I thought I'd bring it back a little bit just for this flight, since we're doing a metro flight, since we don't have a company route. And I'll just showcase it for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the advanced route finder from Dubai to our destination airfield. There's only one route available. It's between flight level 85 and 26. It's CTAT Papa 699 to Kisag, then M430 to Balvip, and then Q215 to Afnan. So we'll go ahead and show that one. Now, another handy thing is we just checked the weather, and the winds were out of the west. So what we can do is we can select our departure runway. We're probably going to be off of one of the 30s. I'm just going to go ahead and put 30 right. It gives us the appropriate SID out of Dubai for that particular first waypoint. It shows you the popularity. You can edit the route. Now, editing the route does subject it to its fantastic route checker, so it will be quite accurate and quite stringent in terms of flight level constraints, airway constraints, that kind of stuff. So it's a really handy tool to have. This is basically kind of like your summary of the flight plan. It's suggesting some alternates. Our alternate, because it's such a short flight, and because the triple is more than capable of flying way longer distances than this, even at the load levels we'll be taking today. By the way, we'll get to the load levels a little bit later. Our alternate is going to be back to Dubai if we can't get back in. So there's also another feature that basically is a fuel calculator. The only downfall to this one is they do have a lot of aircraft, but they don't have the PMDG 777-300ER, which we're in today. So I'm not going to be using this for the fuel calculator. I'll be using something else. So that's a little bit... I kind of wish they had updated it with the 300. I suppose we could use the 200 and just add a little bit extra gas, but we'll play it safe and use a different one. Yeah, selecting your alternate and then putting in your payload, altitude, and basically it'll come up with, let's just give it an example here. So we'll put in a payload of 120. There we go. We'll do flight level 240, calculate. It thinks for a while. You can add a different captain's reserve. It'll show you your altitude profile, and it will come up with quite an accurate model for how much fuel to fuel into your aircraft. Now, there's a waypoint with the winds aloft. There's a waypoint map rather with the winds aloft feature. It'll show you all of your different waypoints along the way. You can export this into pretty much any format you'd like for pretty much any type of aircraft. Fantastic little feature here, much like PFPX does. It'll even file it online for you. On VATSIM, so it's a pre-file system that goes through the VATSIM website and pre-files the flight for you. We've got our weather here. We've got any active NOTAMs, ATC coverage. See, that's the thing with PFPX is, from what I've heard, it's not. I mean, I suppose we could integrate it with online, but maybe there's a feature to do that. But this really here is very conducive to online flying. You've got a buddy system where you can add your friends list by VATSIM PID. You have upcoming events listed on the online section here. Sometimes it has chart links. Now this is a feature that it's a little bit iffy, hit or miss for the maps, and it's got suggested sceneries. So yeah, very nice tool overall. A little bit on the old side, but I do still enjoy using it from time to time when company doesn't provide us with a route. So that's what we'll be flying, and when we get back into the flight deck, I'll probably put it on the bottom of the screen, as always. So we're on the Citat 3 Foxtrot out of 30 right, and we'll just check the charts here. Now, Dubai is a massive, massive airport here. 2 runways only, but, I mean, just the amount of stands and the amount of traffic that actually operates in and out of here on a daily basis and the amount of heavies actually is absolutely mind-boggling. We're actually parked on stand Foxtrot 20, so we're going to scroll down to a little bit more of a relevant chart here. So we're on Fox 20 here, planning to depart off of 30 left just because it's the closer. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll go off 30 right. We'll take one of the 30s, not sure. We'll probably decide last minute here based on... there's no ATC, unfortunately, at the moment. If they do come on, we'll have an assignment from them. But in the meantime, we'll basically be up to pilot's discretion. We'll see what's coming into Dubai. If there's nothing, we'll just cross the runway here. We'll cross 30 left and depart 30 right. If there is inbound, maybe we'll taxi all the way down Kilo to the threshold here. So that's the airport chart. That's the airport overview, at least, taken care of. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a chart that would be relevant for our departure, but that's fine. We'll just plug it into the FMC and check that over and go from there. What we can do, though, is look at our weather for the arrival and start planning for the arrival. Because it's such a short flight, the weather's not bound to change too much. We'll plan the arrival and we'll get the entire flight plan sorted before we even depart or leave the ground. So the weather at our destination, unsurprisingly, just as nice, just as beautiful. The temperature is 20. The wind's out of the southeast, though, 9 knots. It's a clear day, good visibility. No real clouds to speak of, and the QNH is still 1014. With that being said, this is the layout of our destination, Hamad International. It's got a pair of parallel runways as well. These are 16 3/4s. And according to the Metro virtual booking that I filed for, or that I bid on, we are parking at Concourse A of the passenger terminal. So I'm going to, with the distinct lack of ATC, plan for runway 16 right. Now the ILS chart can wait a little bit. We'll plug in the star once we get into the flight deck, which will bring us all the way into runway 16 right. But we will hold off on planning the final approach until we're a little bit closer and in the air. But so that's the plan. Runway 16 right. We'll probably take it all the way to Lima 2 or around here at the end, and then just taxi over to the stand. That is the plan for the arrival. Okay, with all that being said, let's jump into the flight deck and start prepping for the flight. Alright, welcome to the flight deck of the 777-300ER. A couple of things have already been done for us, such as the ADIRUs have been, which is basically the 777's version of the IRSs, have already been aligned. Actually, they haven't been aligned, sorry, they've been switched on. The emergency lights as well have been switched on. The packs have been to auto. The overhead of the triple has kind of like a mix between a Boeing and Airbus, what's called mood lit overhead. So basically anything that that is illuminated in orange requires pilot attention. Anything that doesn't, anything that's on either on or auto is fine. So it's kind of a mix of Boeing and Airbus, or it's kind of like a Boeing's version of a mood-lit cockpit or flight deck rather. So that's a little bit of a differentiation from their older stuff like the 7.3 and the 7.4. A couple of other things have already been done. We've put in the payload, which is 100%, which brings our zero fuel weight to 524 tons. Ridiculous takeoff performance in this aircraft, just because we're not bringing very much fuel, especially not for this bird. So that means we've got a 304 in economy, 42 in business, and 8 in first class. The fuel has already been loaded, just about 36.7 tons rather of fuel. And what else? That's about it for that. So what we'll do is we'll give it an initial position. So we are at OMDB, like so. I don't think it'll take this stand, but we're at Foxtrot 20. Oh, well, sweet. And we'll just grab the GPS position, like so. We do have a company route, so we'll go ahead and route request 777, and we want, probably just missed it. That's the one, request. We'll give that a second. Switch the auto brakes to RTO. We're going off 30, so we'll just punch in some sort of a heading of 300-ish, like so. What else can we do? Fuel pumps can come on. You can hear the passengers boarding. Okay, so that we can go ahead and load. I love this feature, by the way, in the 777. Really makes life easy. We're not sure if I'm gonna plug in 30 right. Oh, it's still uploading. There we go. OMDB to OTHH. Well, flight number is Metro 109. And runway. Okay, the perf in it. Yeah, that's fine. 30. Let's go 30 right for now. Can always change that at the last minute. Let's look that over. Plan mode. Legs. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So departing, and then up to CTAT. Yeah, all that looks good. To our last waypoint, which was Afnan. Good. All right. So we can go to the init ref. Let's see the performance. We want 240. I think I want 260. So actually no, the flight plan was yeah, that's true. There was a maximum on this flight plan of 240. So that's the maximum altitude that we're allowed to use. So fuel weight, blah blah blah, everything that looks fine to me. So we'll go ahead and accept that. The only thing is the step size doesn't have to be our VSM. It's going to be 0, but whatever. Thrust limits, we'll get to that in a bit. So let's go ahead and plug in our departure, which was the CTAT 3 Foxtrot off of 30 right. That'll give the FMC a better idea of performance to calculate for our departure. Switch that back like that. So that will take us out over to CTAT. We can go ahead and activate that. Wind data, that's fantastic. So what we want in the wind data is, we'll be up at hang on. Key sag is the first one we're going to be at our cruise altitude. So we'll go to route data, and we'll go to key sag, which is here. And we want 220. Actually, no, we want 200. 220, like so. 240, and for the hell of it, 260, and we will be at 240. No, that's not going to work. Load, execute, and yeah, descent forecast. Alright, so I forgot what the transition altitude is, so we'll put that in when a little bit later. I'll check the charts and we'll put that in, but we also want forecast. We'll go ahead and load that. This is probably going to give me ridiculous altitudes. Yes, it will. We don't want any of that. We want 240, 220, and let's take 140 as well. Like so. Good. No, and no. Good. Request. Cool. And the other one, let's start with the performance takeoff data. So see, I mean, there's two real methods that, there's two flap settings that we can depart with in the 777. There's 5, and I don't think it'll accept 10 or 20, or 15 rather. Maybe it'll take 15. I don't think so. I think we're limited to... Oh, no, we can. Okay, flaps 15. Okay, so that's what we'll do. The reason I'm doing flaps 15 is even though we don't have a lot of fuel, we are extremely heavily loaded in terms of the rest of the zero fuel weight, rather, so the cargo and the passengers. And it is kind of a warm day, so I'd rather be safe than sorry and limit our takeoff distance. So that's what we'll do with that. We'll just go ahead and load that. In terms of the thrust limit, we're going to really derate this. We really don't need anywhere near close to full power. And maintenance is going to be happy because we're saving them some wear and tear on the engines. Let's try 38. No, let's keep going. 45. Let's do 50. There we go. There we go. And we'll stick in climb 1. Just climb power will be a little bit quicker to cruise. 86, that looks fine to me. The winds were 270 at 8. It is a zero sloped runway. It is dry, and we can go ahead 560. Probably burn off a couple of 100 pounds for the APU and the taxi out, so let's do that. And let's plug in our V speeds, which our V2 speed is 156. Like so. And let's see if we have a constraint. 10,000, 1,000 or above, 4,000 or below. So 4,000 will be our initial altitude. Like so. So that's the MCP all set up. We can go ahead and arm the flight directors. I will stick this to the takeoff page. Takeoff ref page, good. So we're looking for a trim eventually of 7.75. That's fine. Passengers are still boarding. What do we have here? The nav lights are armed. The hydraulics doesn't matter. let's go ahead and fire up the APU. We've got about 20 minutes to departure. The time now is 7:39 Zulu, which means it's 10:39 local time. This flight is scheduled to depart at 11. Metro does it a little bit differently. They handle their on-time sort of, or no, sorry, they handle their departure times slightly differently. So, with Fly UK, it's a little bit more, not lax, but it's just a little different. With Fly UK, you can book a flight, and as long as it operates on the same day, their tracking software doesn't really care about what time of the day that you fly. So if you prefer daytime flights, but the actual flight operates in the evening, that's fine. You can set it to daytime, and away you go. Metro adheres to their schedule a little bit more stringently. You must set your simulator time to the correct time of day and depart within no more than 5 minutes prior to the actual departure time of the aircraft. So it's a little bit different. I kind of like it because it forces you to operate at different times of the day. I mean, I generally operate around the same time of day for Fly UK, just because it makes for better videos, and I kind of like flying during the day and then landing at dusk or dawn. Yeah, with Metro, you really kind of have to be a little bit more, not careful, but you definitely have to be watchful that the correct time is in the simulator. So the overhead, everything looks good. What did I want to do? Let's do the checklist. Why not? Okay, so oxygen. Tested 100%. Let's go ahead and test the oxygen. Come on. Oh, no, it's this one. Yep, good. It's fine. Flight instruments, don't really care. Parking brake, let's go ahead and set that. And normal. Alright, there we go. Okay, flight deck door, not modeled. Passenger signs. Go ahead, and we're done fueling. MCP, that is all done. Takeoff speeds are confirmed. CDU pre-flight is complete. Trim, oh actually, you know what? The CDU pre-flight is not complete. Let's go ahead and stick in our arrival. So we said it was the ILS 16 right and the AFNA 1 Charlie. So let's go ahead and see what that does for our flight plan. So go to the plan page, stick this in legs, blah 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 blah. Whoa! That is, I'm glad I checked this. What is going, oh, is that the go around procedure? Yeah, okay, so we're gonna loop around like, okay, alright. Yeah, that's fine with me. And then the overshoot or the go around is that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take that. That's fine with me. It's gonna look ugly on the ND, but hey ho. I can go back to that. Init ref, that's cool. So now we've got pretty much the entire flight in. Trim 0, good. Taxi and takeoff briefing. Well, we're gonna push back with the nose left and then pick a runway, probably 30 left or right. I forget what I even put in here. 30 right is what we chose. Still no ATC online. And depart, and it's going to be a left turn immediately. Okay, cool. Beacon, we're waiting on that because we're waiting on the passengers. And another 17 minutes to go. So I will catch you in just a little bit. Alright, 5 minutes, 4 minutes early now. Everybody is boarded, the doors are closed and armed. We will go ahead and switch on the parking, or the beacon light rather. Now GSX didn't prompt me for the direction of pushback, which is a little bit concerning, but we'll hope that it goes nose left. That is the before start checklist complete, so the next one is before taxi. We can go ahead and get rid of that. We'll pull up the engine page. And we are, let's go ahead and put our transponder to on. What was I going to say about, oh yeah, there was a couple of other things. So I set the QNH, and the transition level for both airfields is 13,000. So that is now set, and we are ready for pushback. So without further ado, I am not on Unicom. Let's go ahead and set that 122.8. And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard this MetroAir flight. As we prepare for takeoff, please pay attention as we demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. Whether you are a regular traveller with us, or this is your first flight, please pay attention to the following briefing. At this time, your tray table, footrest and TV screen should be folded away, and your seat in the upright carry-on baggage should be stored in the overhead bins or under the seat in front of you. The seatbelt must be worn whenever the seatbelt sign is used. If you are not seated when the seatbelt sign is switched on, then your seat will be fastened. To fasten the seatbelt, insert the metal clip into the button. To remove the seatbelt, lift the lid. The use of cell phones and other portable devices is forbidden during takeoff and landing. Once airborne, the cabin crew will advise whether it is safe to use these devices. At all stages during the flight, wireless functions such as Bluetooth, Wi-Fi must remain on. Smoking anywhere on the aircraft is prohibited. All laboratories are fitted with smoke detectors. If there is a sudden change in cabin pressure, oxygen mask will appear in front of you. Pull the mask closed. Place the mask over your mouth and breathe normally. Even though the bag may not inflate, oxygen will still flow through the mask.
Starting number 1.
Make sure you put your own
Just
mask
make sure
on
that we get
before
N2 rotation and fuel goes in automatically.
In the event of emergency, please follow crew member instructions. The cabin crew are now pointing out the emergency exits. At this time, take note of your nearest emergency exit, as it may be behind you.
It's clear on the right,
A landing
clear on the
gear is
left.
unlikely. However,
Wasn't the most elegant of pushbacks, but what are you going to do?
take the jacket out of the pouch and place it over your head. Do not inflate the life jacket until you are there with the aircraft. Do this by
See if
slinging
TrackIR will comply.
If you're traveling with infants, the cabin crew will provide them with a life jacket. At any time you need to remind yourself of the
Sweet.
safety features of this aircraft, please read the safety tab in front of you. The cabin crew are now conducting a final check of the aircraft. On behalf of all of us here at MetroAir and our codeshare partner FlyUK, we thank you for choosing us and hope you enjoy the flight.
Alright. That is the ground guys pretty much clear. Anti-ice, not required. Recall. TCAS, that's fine. Auto brakes are RTO. Flight controls, we'll check that in a second. We need 7.75 units of trim, so let's go to flight controls and set the trim 7.75. Seven, 5. There we go. Let's do a control check. So, full left, full right, full up, full down, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Splendid. Back to the checklist. That is checked. Ground equipment is clear. Flaps 15. We can set that out on the taxi out. Flaps going to 15. Oops, that was one too far. There's 15. Release the parking brake. And let's spin it around to the left. Don't think I'll need to add any power. These GE90s are ridiculously powerful. Oh, maybe we're heavy enough that we do. Okay, so let's just add a skosh of power. Really don't need much. Spin her around to the left. Full left deflection. And come back off the power. So we'll follow this taxi line right here, all the way over to, what did we say? We said 30 right, so we'll have a look at TCAS in a second as we approach the intersection and see if anybody's coming in. No announcements on Unicom, although in my experience that's not really something that we can rely on. But when we get to the intersection, we'll check that really quick, and we'll make our decision whether we should continue across or if we should taxi all the way down and wait for an inbound traffic and set up for 30 left. So here we are pulling up to the intersection. I'm going to stop it and hold short. There was it was an Emirates that called inbound to Dubai for the ILS 30 left. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come to a stop here. And I've got the TCAS on, but I don't see him on the TCAS. It's better safe to be sorry. Wow, it's better safe than sorry. So I'll just come to a stop here. We will turn off the taxi light. And I'll have a good look around at TCAS. He doesn't seem to be on final yet. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Really don't see anybody on TCAS. I'm going to investigate a little bit further here before we cross the runway. In the meantime, that is the after takeoff checklist, which we don't need. Okay. I had a better look, and he's way out. He's right over there, so that's fine. We're just going to go ahead and cross 30 left for 30 right. So, strobes go on, crossing a runway. Might as well put the turnoffs on as well. Alright, let's hold short of 30 right. Strobes can come off. Tighten up the ND. We'll turn on the weather radar preemptively. Set the parking brake. Okay, so cabin is, I believe, is ready. Passenger signs on, brake set, doors, auto. I didn't get the chime from the cabin crew, but actually I did earlier, and then it kind of just went away, that message, so oh well. Nobody on final? Nope. Okay. Just going to announce our intentions on Unicom, and off we go. Alright. Parking brake released. Lights are on. Let's go ahead and line up. Clear on the right. Clear on the left. A little bit more power. Start the clock. I'm going to do this as a rolling takeoff. See if I can line up this thing. It's a little bit tricky. It's a long aircraft, so you kind of have to oversteer it a little bit. Love TrackIR for this. It really does come in handy. There's the beautiful Dubai airport. Alright. Let's get out of here. Power's coming in. Stable. Toga. Wind shouldn't be a factor, especially not in this big thing. There's 100 knots. You can see even with this massive D rate, we're really picking up speed quickly. And V1.
V1.
Rotate.
Rotate. V2.
That little chime, by the way, was the ACARS system saying we're off. Gears coming up. Let's watch the pitch. Don't want to... Come on, back down we go. Pitch for speed. There we go. Beautiful Dubai skyline, a little bit hazy today. I think that's the inbound guy on the TCAS right there. We're supposed to stop our climb at 4, so we're going to complete this turn here. Love hand flying this thing, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and speed intervene it. Keep it at flaps 5 speed for now. Because we are going to start to level off. And we are going to start to turn. So I do want the engines to... Whoop. Oh, we're going to overshoot, maybe? No, we're good. Okay. There we go. Let's level it off. Start the turn. A little bit up. Sorry I'm not focusing on the view. It's not a little bit... It's not as scenic as I was hoping, but that's fine. We're coming back here anyway. I'm really not doing a good job of following this flight director. It's okay. It's hazy anyway. That's my excuse. I'm sticking with it. Alright. Turn's completed. Stay at 4,000. Pitch it down a little bit. There we go. Alright, autopilot. Can we see anything? Not really. Skyline's a little bit hazy. Oh well. So, where was our altitude constraint? It was... We passed it. Splendid. All the way up to our cruise of 240. Like so. Go ahead and stick it completely automatic. We'll start bringing up the flaps, and away we go. You can see even with the D rate of climb 1, we're really picking up some vertical speed here to make sure that we stay within that 250 knots under 10,000 constraint. I'm going to go ahead and put it into standard in anticipation that we are crossing 13,000, which is our transition altitude, which is fine, and we'll turn off the nose light for now. We'll keep the other two landing lights on until we hit 10,000. What else? Everything seems to be hunky-dory in the flight deck. So we'll climb it up to cruise. There's our top of climb, which is just past CTAT, and our top of descent is just a little further along, past a waypoint called, let's see if I can find it here, Ramiro, Tonsa. It's about just before Bovip. So between Tosna and Bovip is our top of descent. We've already have, thanks to the wonderful PMDG 777, we have some descent forecast, which will update a little bit closer to there. Transition levels already in. What we can do in the meantime is quickly check on the weather and our chart for the ILS 16 right into Hamad.